Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another stream from Wolverine Studios as we get ready to stream Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 2020, our ongoing dynasty here. I want to thank you for joining us this evening for our live stream. And as you can see where we left off, we are heading into the free agency period for the 2023 season. As you can see, we played through 4 seasons. We were with Orlando for 3 of them, 1 with Phoenix. We've made the playoffs every season. We've had a winning record every season. We haven't had that ultimate playoff success, though, in getting to a championship. So we'll see if this year can be the year for our Phoenix Beans. Taking a look at our job goals, we have a player budget of $109 million. The staff budget $8.7 million. We're expected to make the playoffs, and our roster demand is to keep our young star power forward Yende rushing. Let's take a look at our contract situation, knowing that our budget is set there at $109 million. Currently, with our cap holds, we are at $121 million. We have cap holds on Terry Richardson, Higgins Hendricks, Ivan Jackson, Ron Mouton, David Price, and Edvin Andrews. We're hoping to bring back most of those guys. Richardson was a player we traded for last year. Hendricks is a young guy who is okay, a bench guy. And Mouton is a restricted free agent, so we'll be able to match any offers for him. We definitely want to bring these amounts down, though, and stay as close to that $109 million as possible. Right now, our job rating is secure. We have 100% job security, but we don't want to end up risking it like we did with Orlando. That's eventually what got us fired from our Orlando job, was spending way more on the player budget than the ownership had asked us to. So let's take a look before we get into the free agency at the league media, and we will check out the free agency preview. And as we talked about last time, this is going to be a really strong free agency class with restricted free agents and unrestricted free agents. Josh Silla has been one of the players who's given us so many problems over the career here. With Miami, Jesse Carson has led New York to 2 championships, so those 2 will be very highly sought after in free agency. Borenko Popov has been one of the leading scorers, if not the leading scorer in the league for a couple of seasons. And Oliver, Field, and Gresham are all excellent players as well. If you don't recognize any of the names, that's because we're doing a fictional dynasty here, fictional players, fictional teams. Show off those great default logos we have and default team names. As for us, we won't have any free agency money. We have our mid-level exception we can use, and a couple of players of our own we'd like to re-sign. We can take a look at only Terry Richardson from our team is listed in the free agency guide. That means Hendricks, Mouton, Jackson, and the others aren't top line free agent guys here. It looks like Richardson is asking for almost $12 million over 3 years. That's a big ask for somebody who averaged 6.2 points per game. We won't be offering him that much, but we will offer him a smaller contract, because I would like to bring him back. Other than that, though, it's not going to be a terribly active free agency period. If we take a look at our roster, we can see who we have under contract. Obviously, our star player rushing, and our big free agent signing from last season, Ernest Mooring, who was with us. If you remember the Orlando stream, he was our star player in Orlando. So we brought him here. Ralph Childress is in the second year. He was our first-round draft pick a year ago, and I thought he got snubbed in Rookie of the Year voting. But he's back for another season, and he's going to be our point guard here. Roberto Roy is a player that I liked a while ago. he's got good potential. We'd like to see him reach that potential this season because he's sort of running out of time for that. Whereas if he doesn't hit it soon, his development will just plateau. And so we've got 9 players under contract. We've got a couple of guys that we want to target to bring back, and we can use our mid-level exception if we find somebody worth it in free agency. So let's go take a look at the free agency pool. We're going to start by making a target list. This is something we haven't done before, and if you've been to our streams, we've been moving along pretty quickly through them. We started to slow down with the last one or two to try to show a little bit more detail, a little bit more depth. So we're going to do that here with free agency and show off some strategies too that maybe you can use when playing yourself. Now the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to search for my own players that I want to bring back. So one of those is Terry Richardson. We're going to add him to the target list. Higgins Hendricks. We'll put him on the target list. Mouton is a restricted free agent, so we don't need to add him to our target list. And we've also added earlier Rich English. English is a player who is out of our league in terms of what we can offer cap-wise, but he did have we did get an email saying he had a relationship with, a friendship with Andy Rushing, so that that could be a deciding factor if we're close on him, but I don't think that'll happen. But we're going to keep his name on the list anyways. Otherwise, we need to look around and see maybe for a backup center. Center, we have Roy as our starting center, and Jackson was a free agent, and we've got some power forwards who can play that spot, but I'd like to find somebody who is maybe a good defender and would work pretty cheap. So obviously we're not looking at Gresham or Bennett here. Jackson is on this list. I mean, he's a solid defender, not much of a shot blocker, and shouldn't be too expensive. Looking at Steve Chapman, a decent rebounder, decent defender, okay shot blocker. So he might be a guy that we want to throw on our target list. We'll throw Jackson on the target list too, because he could be useful. Not much. Well, look, R.T. Dickens. That's a 4-star guy, so we won't have much of a chance there. Really, with the restricted or the mid-level, we're probably looking at max a 2.5-star player, 2-star player. Which again, we've talked about this before on the stream, that a 2.5-star player is still a possible starter. 2-star player is a rotation guy. It's not. It's you have to get out of that mindset that he's only a 2-star. He's only a 2.5-star guy. Those guys are still playable players. There's a lot of 1-star guys are obviously not great, but 2-star, 2.5 stars, they are rotation level players. So you can't just dismiss them. Let's see, what about rebounding wise? Is there a rebounding big man that we might look at here who's just not a good shot blocker? Tyron Nichols, I mean, he's pretty old, but we could just be looking for a 1-year contract as a backup. That's okay. Smalls, again, he's another veteran. I'm not seeing a ton of guys here. Not seeing a ton to look for there. We also could use a backup small forward if there's somebody who can help us there. We're going to look. I always look for defense first. If we can find a solid defender who can come in off the bench and just help things not get worse, basically, while we rest Mouton a little, or rest Mooring a little bit. Tavoris Walton, the 9 defender. Decent steals, okay. Scoring, not a very good free throw shooter though. Good jump shooter. Let's see. Restricted free agent and 4-star player, so he's going to be outside of what we're looking for here. I'm not seeing a lot that really looks great to me. If there's anybody on the list here that you're looking at and think we should give a look to, feel free to throw their name out there. And by the way, we are now a affiliate level on Twitch, which means we can have subscriptions. So if you feel like subscribing to the channel and supporting us, we certainly appreciate that. And absolutely make sure that you're at least following us and have notifications turned on, so that when we go live, and you're ready for it. And we've been streaming every Tuesday night at 7:30 Eastern, and we've got some other interesting ideas for the streams too, either other games or some other things that we're going to be working on in the future as we kind of get adjusted here on Twitch and kind of learn what we can do. Let's add Lorenz and Harris to our target list. Anybody who would be great at steals? Ron Wade's kind of interesting, 2.5-star. He might fit into that, sort of what we're looking for. Parquet. Okay defender, not bad scoring, decent. He could be a guy too. I mean, again, 2-star guy, but we're just looking for maybe a 10th man here or something. Somebody who could come in and play cheap. At 34 years old, maybe he'll take a 1-year deal or something like that. Anybody? There's Walton again. Keep seeing him. Not a great free throw shooter, but the other stuff isn't bad. So we'll look at him. So let's go over to our target list, and we'll turn all of our filters back on. Here's kind of what we're looking at target-wise. Rich English again is probably not going to happen, but we'll keep him just in case. Richardson's the first guy that I'd really like to bring back. So we need to talk to him. He wants $11 million for 3 years. That's not doable, especially for a guy who averaged like 6 points a game. I'm thinking more along the lines of $5 million. And he's young. I'll give him at least what he's looking for on his demand for years. And again, he is a bird player, so we can go over the cap to re-sign him, and we'll make an offer. We'll see what he does with that offer. At least if he keeps it in mind, or if he just outright rejects it. Hendricks was another one of our guys that I was interested in bringing back. He's looking for $8.5 million for 2 years. That's not what we're looking for. I'm thinking more like $3.5 million. So we'll throw out those two offers. Everybody else here on this list is not really a high priority at this point. I think they'll all be available later on as we go into free agency. Let's see what Ron Wade is looking for. Yeah, he wants $13.5 million. So we're going to have to wait some of these guys out and see what as some of the other money falls and cap space gets tied up. See what we can do then. So not as exciting as a free agency session as last year, where we had the opportunity to sign a ton of players or spend a lot of money. New York, we signed Jesse Carson, 5 years, 156. So right off the bat, New York takes care of their guy, who's led them to 2 championships. Can't fault them at all for that one. Nothing else really happened. So Hendricks is still considering our offer. Terry Richardson has declined our initial offer. So we're going to have to wait him out a little bit. and we'll get another day going while we're doing this. Thank you for joining us tonight on our stream. As you can see, we've got a link in the chat. If you haven't tried the game, grab a free demo of it right now, WolverineStudios.com. You can get a free demo of this or any of our other games and try them out. If you've got questions about playing the game, anything about this dynasty, about anything with this game or our other games, feel free to throw them in the chat box, and we love to interact with you. We can see Miami very busy. They re-signed Josh Silla. New Orleans re-signs Drew Gresham. So no movement for the big guys, but they are coming off the board quickly here. And we'll move on to another day here. Again, we have to be patient here in free agency because we don't have money to spend. And the players we're interested in are not going to be high-profile early signing guys. Brooklyn signs Derek Howard to a one-year deal for $9.4 million. Let's pull up our target list here, and we'll talk to Terry Richardson again. Now he's hoping to go join Miami. We will up that offer to him. 6.5, 3 years. We'll give him a 6% raise. We'll see if that moves the needle at all on him. That's a fair offer for what his output has been. Hendricks we're still in on. Chapman was an interesting potential backup. Wow, he wants $12 million. We're gonna have to wait on that. He's only a 2-star guy. Walton was another guy. $7 million's a lot for him. We'll wait on that. Rich English is a guy that we obviously don't have much of a shot at. He's looking for $38 million. But we can offer him the mid-level and see if he even is willing to consider it. We'll give him a player option on that. I don't think that we have any chance at all of getting that one, but it doesn't hurt to take a shot. Let's move on another day and see if at least Richardson will keep our offer on the table. No signings today. And no, both English and Richardson have rejected our offers. Hendricks still considering it, which makes me think that maybe we're overpaying. Although, he's looking for 8.5. We're offering 3.5. That's a decent offer. I'm willing to keep that one on the table. I guess we'll have to wait out Richardson a little bit here. Hopefully we can get him to come down on his demands though after the money runs out. Let's look and take a quick pause there on the first few days. We'll save it while we're taking a look over here. There's obviously a lot of cap money out here still. Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Orlando, LA, still big money out here. So until this money starts drying up, it's going to be tough for us to get very far with Richardson at least. News around the league. Adam Field leaning towards Miami. So no news about our guys. Wow. Popov says he has a 5-year, $214 million offer from Brooklyn. If that's true, I don't know why he hasn't accepted that. That's crazy money. And I don't know what else he would be holding out for from Brooklyn. So let's move along another day here. See if some of that money can start being dispersed, and that way we can jump in with some offers. No, nothing yet. It's an interesting free agency period. A couple teams, New York and Miami, came out swinging to re-sign their guys, and a couple guys re-signed really quickly, right out of the gate, first day, second day, and now we've hit kind of a period where I think that a lot of guys are holding out now for the other available money. And there's Scott Oliver back to Detroit. Minnesota retains Adam Field, a huge offer there, and New York resigns Corey Kluwer. So that doesn't take a lot of money off the field, as those are bird rights guys. Hendricks still willing to consider offer. We'll move ahead another day. Hopefully some money gets eaten up here. While we're processing here another day, thank you for joining us on the stream. We're new to this. We're still building our following here on Twitch and still figuring out some things we can do. If you have any suggestions for future streams, throw them in the chat box. We'll consider that. Other games, other ideas, anything we can do to make this channel something that you want to come back to over and over again. Sacramento signs David Lyles to an offer sheet. New York again re-signing. New York's re-signing everybody. They should. They won the championship twice, and Milwaukee re-signs Tim Miles there. So we're still waiting for Houston, the LA teams. Still waiting for these guys to get an offer accepted and get some money out of here, so we can start being active. Because obviously, without any cap space and trying to keep our salaries around the cap, there's not a whole lot we can do right now. Brooklyn, there you go, pop off 5 years, $204 million for the top scorer in the league. Philadelphia signs Michael Williams. Indiana re-signs Dallas, re-signs a couple of guys. So we're seeing some of the big names move off the board, which really is going to leave some of these teams out in the cold. So we'll go over and look at the cap space updates again. It looks basically the same as it did last time. Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, these guys have tons of money to spend, and they're striking out on the top players, obviously, as they're choosing to re-sign with their own teams. And it's frustrating for me because our guys aren't, if they see this money, all this money out there still, they're going to be going for it. Richardson still he's dropped his demands to 2 years. I still want to see if he can at least keep our offer on the table. See if Chapman's come down any on his demands. Now he wants $11 million still. Walton, $7 million for 2 years. He's a possible guy we could throw part of our mid-level at. Ron Wade is another guy. I like using the target list now. We haven't done it before in the stream, but we're using it now to show it to you. It really helps you narrow down and just kind of focus on the guys you're interested or have a realistic shot at. Let's see what Jackson's looking for. Wow, that's big upgrade over what we were paying him last year. So I guess we just gotta wait. We'll see what happens with Richardson here, though. Hopefully, with the core group that we have with this Phoenix team, I think we can make a good one. We would have had a shot in the playoffs last year, but Mooring went down in the first round after we were up 1-0. Boston and Minnesota re-sign players. So I don't want to see re-signs. I need to see signs. I need to see, L.A. Both L.A. teams, Chicago, Houston, Orlando. These teams got to get out here and get some guys signed. But I kind of feel that they went for the top guys and struck out, and now they're going to be in a situation where they're overpaying players. Let's see, here we go. Dallas matches that offer on David Lyles. Atlanta, Memphis, Los Angeles signs Keith Clark, 4 years, almost $95 million. So that takes some money off the board. Ron Wade resigns with Toronto, so we will not be grabbing him. Hendricks still contemplating our offer. I would be surprised if he gets a better one than that. Rich English still on the board here. We don't have a realistic chance of getting him, I don't think, but still keeping an eye on him. Richardson still looking for $10 million. Still not willing to pay anything close to that for him. But I can't fault him for trying when there's a bunch of money still out there to be had. It's just, it's a realistic part of the game too, that the players in free agency look around and see what money they could possibly get, so they're not willing to necessarily settle early if they see that there's money out there. Denver resigns Emeka Lewis. Memphis matches that offer that Philly made on Michael Williams. Sacramento signs Clay Bailey to an offer sheet, but still nothing out of Chicago, LA, Orlando, Houston. And Richardson is keeping our offer in mind now, at least. So at least we've made some progress there. As we're nearing the end of free agency too. We're already at July 28th. Free agency ends August 4th. So hopefully we get some movement on some of these guys. I'd like Chapman's coming down a little bit, but again, he would just be a backup for us, and I don't think we want to use the mid-level on that. That's a lot of money to use on him. So I guess we don't have much choice right now other than to wait it out here. And for those of you who are newer to the stream tonight, came in later, thank you for joining us. If you've got any questions, throw them in the chat box. And if you've got ideas on what we can do to make the stream better, or something that you're going to watch over and over again in the future, let us know. And you also have the opportunity to subscribe to our channel now. So if you do that and support us, we'd certainly appreciate it. Wow, a lot of action today. Houston finally, they take Rich English off the board. Didn't think we'd ever have a realistic option there. A lot of one-year tender offers being taken here as players, including us. Ron Mouton comes back for $1.9 million. That's a good deal for us. But let's see. Other than that, nothing else. It's a lot of tenders, a lot of restricted free agents that just didn't find an offer they were looking for. So that's going to take a lot of players off the board, but unfortunately not much money. We've still got Richardson and Hendricks here. We lost a couple more of our players from our list. This Walton, I'm going to throw out an offer to him as just a minimum offer from a player option, so it's a 1+1 deal, and see if we can sign him as a backup. So we've got Walton, Richardson, and Hendricks with offers out there. And only a few days left to go, so hopefully these guys start just taking whatever offers we have. And Phoenix resigns Terry Richardson, 3 years, $19 million. Houston getting rid of some more money there, signing Andre Wood. Other than that, nothing that we were looking at. So that's good news that we got Richardson back. Walton and Hendricks still considering our offers. We'll do a quick save here as we head into the final 6 days of free agency. Still got to bring back a center too, so Jackson's a possibility, bringing him back, and Chapman as well. We'll offer Chapman the 1+1 in case he just feels that there's not much interest. He could have somebody to sign with for a year, and then he could hit free agency again next year, which is what Jackson did last year with us. We gave him a 1+1, and he decided to opt out and hit free agency, but looks like there hasn't been much of a market for him, so he might be able to be brought back as well. So we've got Richardson, we've got Mouton back, and nobody. Oh, there's Tywan Ward from our old Orlando days. That guy didn't play a lick of defense, so I'm glad we didn't sign him again. Walton, Hendricks, and Chapman all still considering our offers as we simulate the final day in July here. We now have 11, I believe, signed. We do have a second-round draft pick that we have to take care of. Phoenix resigns Higgins Hendricks, so he takes our 3-year contract that he was mulling over the entire time here in free agency. And Walton and Chapman still on the board. Let's look at our contract situation. We're at that 11 million mark, so we are going to be a bit over the promised amount to our ownership, but hopefully they won't ding us too badly on that. And next year we've got some flexibility coming too, depending on what we do with Roy and Willis and Baum. And Mooring, we signed into a huge deal. If things aren't working out this year in the season, we could always try to unload him for cap space next year. So let's see if we can bring it. Walton and Chapman, these guys would just be minimum level contract guys that we're trying to fill out our bench with. And a lot of signings here. Phoenix, we signed Tavares Walton. And we got Steve Chapman. So that's a pretty solid free agency session for us. We brought back Richardson. Mouton took our free agent offer, or our tender. And we picked up, re-signed Hendricks, and picked up a couple of decent bench guys here. So that's a pretty solid free agency session for us, with not having really any cap space or things like that to work with, and we didn't have to bust out the mid-level and overpay anybody. So very happy with how we managed that. We're the salaries are a little bit more than what ownership was asking us to spend. And in our phone call with ownership, I didn't ask for the luxury tax money either. So maybe they would have been willing to give it to me if I would have asked. Now it's time to handle our rookie options. In case you're not aware, this is the last day you can do it. Go to the contracts page and handle that there. That's for the first round draft picks. And let's see, we have Childress, who I think he's done a good job for us. I'll pick up that 4th year for him. Let's see, Beer Bomb. We're still good. He was our top pick this year. We traded up in the draft to get him because our staff said he was a 5-star potential player. So we'll hang on to him a little bit. We've got him signed for 2 years. We don't have to make a decision on him right now. So we are good with our rookie options and training camp, which again I'm only playing in local mode. I'm the GM, so the coach will handle. The coaching staff will handle training camp, and hopefully we see some improvement in some of our young players. As we get ready for our second season with Phoenix here. So let's quick save here, taking a look at our stars. I don't see much change there. Roy still is a 3-star. Disappointing that we didn't get better results out of training camp. I'm kind of wondering if Roy has hit his plateau. Beer Bomb did pick up a 0.5 star, although they've downgraded his potential now from what we thought in the draft, but still have hopes that he'll work out. At least he better. We gave up a lot for him. So players to the 1, 2, 3. We have 13 players. I don't think there's anybody I need to send to the D League. I think these guys are all pretty solid. Let's look at what the coaching staff is looking at right now in terms of our starting lineup. It would be Childress, Royton, Mooring, Rushing, and Baum. Yeah, that's disappointing that Roy wouldn't even be a starter on this team. Disappointing also that they're not going to use Richardson more. I think he's got good potential and he should get more of an opportunity. But we'll see what happens once the season actually kicks off. So we're not going to sign anybody to the D League. We'll just let the D League management team handle whoever they want to grab for the roster. I think that if Beer Bomb's not getting much playing time with us, maybe we'll send him down to the D League and get some experience down there. But I would like to see what the coaching staff wants to do with them first. And that's kind of one of the fun things about playing in local mode, that you just get to kind of see what the coaching staff is doing. You don't have to handle all those decisions. And if you really want to, you can fire the head coach and name yourself head coach and do double duty as the head coach and GM and take over all those management decisions and also the depth chart and sub-matrix decisions and stuff like that. But I like the mode of just being general manager and having the coaching staff make those decisions, and then dealing with the coaching staff if they're not doing things the way I would want them. You can always use the phone, on the phone option to call your head coach and suggest, you want to see this guy play more, you want to see this guy play less, stuff like that. So you still can impact what the coaching staff is doing if they want to listen to you. If not, again, you have to decide if you want them to be your coaching staff or not. So that's just a different way of playing. You can also play in what we call global mode, and you control everything. You can turn off, and you can let the coach do it, make the decisions if you want, or you can handle them, or you can kind of switch back and forth. So the game is very flexible in letting you handle things the way you want to play. We have to import or create a new draft class for the 2024 draft. So we'll let the game create the rookie pool, and we'll go check it out and see if there's anybody who is going to be exciting in the upcoming draft. Of course, our goal is to make the playoffs. That's what ownership has asked of us, and so far in our 4 years of this dynasty with Orlando, 3 with Orlando, 1 with Phoenix, we've had winning seasons every year and made the playoffs every year. So we want to keep that streak alive. Certainly no reason to have a season where we're intentionally tanking, with especially with some of the talent that's on this Phoenix team, like Mooring and Rushing. So definitely trying to make the playoffs with this team. And again, I go back to last season's playoffs. That first round matchup with Houston, a team that we beat continuously during the regular season, and took the first game, of the playoffs in their home, and that injury to Mooring really killed us. So we've got our free agency, or our rookie class created, and we're going to save it as we are at the point of the new season. Let's go and take a look around the league at some of the interesting things, starting with the draft to scout. As a reminder, you have to assign your scouting staff points for the season before the first day of the season is over. We've got mostly American players there, so not really much reason to spend points scouting overseas at all. 50 points is the minimum to get information on playing styles for players. And like I said, this does not seem to be a very strong at all foreign class. So only 2 players at the top of the draft pool. So I think we're going to spend all of the points here in the U.S. regions, and it doesn't really matter where we get the, let's see, Portland State, Boston College, California. So looks like we'll spend the money in the last points in the West. Let's go over to the media. I like looking at the magazines prior to the season. The fantasy guide. Let's see if any under the radar players. Do we have any young guys that? Nope. Nobody under the radar. Top 50 still Brent Wilson. There's Gresham. Still guys were re-signed in free agency this year. There's Jesse Carson, Adam Field. So this is a great free agency class. Scott Oliver was up there. So there's Rushing. We've got 1 in the top 50 so far. There's Jamar Thompson from our Orlando days. Mooring still hanging on, ranked in the top 50. And that's all I expect. So yeah, we still got 2 in the top 50. And the season preview. Let's check it out. In the West, we are projected 9th, 10th. 10th in the West. So Rushing, Baum, Mooring, Childress, and Royton are starting. Lineup, our key bench players. There's our rookie, Ewald Bierbaum. No subtractions. Nothing really lost in this off season. Looks like Bierbaum is slated to get some decent minutes, so I'm excited to see that and see what we have with him. Is there anything in our inbox to take care of? Nope, we assigned our scouting points. and we're ready to go. So we're going to kick off the season on this stream. We won't go through all of it, but we're going to start at least. Let's start with just the month of October. We'll stop on anything actions that we have to deal with. So here we go. The 2023-24 season is underway. And a quick trade takes place. We lose our opener to Los Angeles. Nice game from Mooring, Roy, and Childress. Don't see Rushing in that top 3 players for the game, which means he probably was back in his foul trouble ways. So we'll have to check that out. Even the score there, wow, Mooring with 40 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds, 4 steals. That was a heck of a game by him. So even though he's getting up there, Rushing, Mooring, and Baum there, 120-105 win over Portland as we start 2-1, and Roy has suffered an injury. He wasn't even starting, so it's not terrible, I guess. Wow, blowout to Minnesota. Richardson got a chance to play that game, it looks like. So far, okay start. Close loss to Indiana. Indiana with Brent Wilson, the best player in the league, almost went with a triple-double there with 39, 9, and 9 against us. So obviously not much there to slow him down. 107-117 loss to Golden State. 2-4 is an ugly start. Not the way we wanted to start off the month, or start the season rather. 2-4. As we hit November 1st, let's go and look at some of these box scores from the first 6 games and see what exactly the heck is going on here. Let's see. Roy. Oh, wow. Roy, broken wrist, out 48 days. That is, I wasn't too concerned because he's not a starter, but wow, that's bad news. Let's look at our first 6 games. We lost the opener to LA. We noticed Rushing was not in the top players of that game, and no surprise, there he is with his foul trouble again. Right off the bat. This was the problem last year, where he would miss huge chunks of games with foul trouble. And we're having our star player to be in foul trouble like that. Kind of made me think maybe we should make a move and trade him. So that might come up this season. Rushing there, no foul trouble, 26 points, 14 rebounds. You love to see this guy. I love what he can do, but he's got to stay on the floor to do it. Mooring dropped that 40-point game there, 7 for 12 for threes. Excellent game all the way around there. There's our rookie Beerbaum. He had 10 points that game. Richardson got the start that game over Childress. That was interesting. Let's see. Then we beat Portland 120-105. Richardson again started there. Childress with 20 off the bench. Beerbaum with 12. Look at that, the plus-minus off the bench, Childress, Mouton, and Beerbaum. Excellent off the bench. That really helps when you get the bench scoring rolling like that. Second chance points, pretty even. Points in the paint, that was pretty even all the way around there. And then we got blown out at Minnesota. Minuses across the board everywhere here. I'm not sure there's anything positive to take away from a game like that. Fast break points, we got absolutely destroyed, 25-5 points in the paint. Terrible. But this is without Roy. So Chapman got 16 minutes and obviously had no impact defensively in the paint. We lost a close one to Indiana. Looks like the coaching staff has decided to stick with Richardson as the starter at point guard. That's kind of interesting. Over Childress. No answer for Wilson there. Well, there's our answer for Wilson. 6 fouls on rushing again. So that's 2 out of the first 5 games that he's been completely neutralized because of fouls. And again, fouls out against Golden State. So he's fouled out in half of the game so far. This is going to be a problem, I think. And we drafted Beerbaum. He's a power forward. Obviously, he's not ready to step into a big role right now, but this is a real issue with rushing. It's 6 games in. He's already fouled out of half the games. And those are all losses. And that's killing us. Absolutely killing us. And he seems to have plateaued in his ratings. I mean, he's an excellent player when he plays, but he's just killing me with these fouls here. Last season he fouled out 19 times. 3 already this year. So it's going to be something where I think we have to at least consider the possibility of a trade. And I hate to trade away a star young player like that, but he's locked up long term at a reasonable contract for a star. So I think that if we did make a move with him, we could get something good back. I don't think that's an issue. He's young. He's got a decent contract and he's signed long term. So we may have to consider that because we can't have him fouling out of games nonstop like that. Let's take a look and see if there's anybody who's on the trade block early. A couple of guys already. David Lyles, they just re-signed him. Devin Eldridge. So I wonder what's going on in Dallas. If they've already got Lyles and Eldridge on the trade block. Let's take a look. Dallas is 5-3. Oh, they've got problems. Lyles and Eldridge are both unhappy campers, as is Raymond Jordan. Eldridge, that's kind of interesting. Actually, Eldridge and Lyles combined salary is kind of close to rushing. I think that would be a downgrade for us, but let's see what he's. Eldridge is a free agent to be too. Averaged 15.8 last year. And he is soured on the team terribly. Personally disruptive force, so he could possibly be part of the problem in here that's kind of making everybody else unhappy here. David Lyles, not friendly personality. That's probably a bad mixture on that team. He averaged 14.8 last year. So I don't think we need to make a move right now, but that's possible. Although I don't like the fact that Eldridge is both disruptive and a free agent. So I don't know about trying to bring him in. I'd like to get some offers for rushing, but putting him on the trade block could cause issues with him there. If we get questioned on him by the media, it could cause his attitude to drop. And everybody on our team is got a good attitude right now. Let's see. Let's take a quick look at the league leaders. And Scott Cook 35 a game early on. There's Mooring 18th in the league. Points wise. Beerbaum right now 8th in the league in scoring. So the big question will be what does he turn into? If we think that he does have that ceiling that the staff initially thought of, then rushing becomes a little bit more expendable. But I think we'll wait till later in the year and see if other teams have disgruntled players. Maybe we'll slip on the trade block for a little bit and see if anything happens with that. But I think we'll worry about that later on. And that looks like a good place to leave off on this stream. We have a little teaser going, into the next stream. What will we do with rushing, and how will the season play out after a not great 2-4 start? So thank you for joining us tonight on the stream. Don't forget, you can go to www.wolverinestudios.com. You can grab a free demo of Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 2020 or any of our other games. And make sure that you are following us and have notifications turned on so that you know when we're going live. We're going 7:30 Eastern every Tuesday night. Looking to get some other stream times in there and some other stream subjects other than just Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 2020. So thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next time.